Hi guys, so I've got 1 week to go until I'm going back to Cambridge, and what I wanted to talk to you about is staying focused during this period of the year. So typically in the month before going back to uni, I do my preparatory reading, which I find a bibliography for on the course website, and that's where it usually is. You might need access with your student account, but that's right because you've got that. Something to keep in mind is that you can have a look at the reading list during the summer, even if it's not the new reading list for that year, but courses usually announce when they change and their structure. So it's pretty much a safe bet that you can take the reading list from last year and get an idea of what you should be reading for your course. This way you don't have to wait until mid-September when the new timetable and reading lists are uploaded. So you have a bit more time to do the reading, if that's what you're into. Let me have a sip of my espresso. It's just really early in the morning. I'm trying to stay awake now. Alright, so now that we've talked about how to get hold of your bibliography, I really suggest that you start reading at the beginning of September. In August, I rarely read for uni. I usually read for pleasure, and I take some time off to just chill out, enjoy the summer. But then in September, it's a really good time to start on your bibliography. And I'd start with the primary texts. That's what I've done this year for the History of Political Thought course, and also for the German Thought, Literature and Culture in the 20th Century course. Apart from those two, just as a fun fact, I've got an optional dissertation on contemporary German history from the 1990s up to the present. So, as you can tell, I've got quite a lot of reading to do for those. So I've started gathering the reading lists at some point at the beginning of August, and then started actually reading the primary text at the beginning of September, more or less. And what I like to share with you are a few tips from my own experience, how to stay focused when summer's not really over, but you need to start thinking about uni again, and it could be quite hard to avoid distractions. But before I do that, I wanted to do a bit of channel maintenance. So what I plan to do on this YouTube channel are weekly or almost weekly videos during my last year at the University of Cambridge, sharing just in this friendly, informal way my experiences throughout the year. And I really hope that it will help you in your studies as well and inspire you. And it will be a busy time, but I really want to do this. I will probably not have very much time to do amazing cinematography for them, but please bear with them. There might be something to gain from them if you're in the same situation as me, or if you're a student, obviously, or if you want to find out how life at Cambridge is. So now that you know what my plan is, let's talk about reading and staying focused. One of the habits that I've been trying to build and that have helped me a lot in staying focused this month has been doing a to-do list every evening for what I want to do the next day. And this helps a lot because every morning when you wake up, you don't lose those precious minutes thinking what you want to do next, what you have to do next. And if you can't think of anything, you start a YouTube video, and the next thing you know, it's 12 o'clock at noon and you're still watching YouTube videos, or you're still mindlessly browsing online or something like that, you know. It's really good to build a habit, to make a habit out of making a to-do list in the evening, and then in the morning checking that to-do list while sipping from an espresso. That's not really the best habit. So if you can do without the espresso, that's good for you. I don't actually drink it because I need it. I drink it because I like it. So now the next thing to do would be compartmentalizing your work. That is really, really helpful because it tricks your mind into thinking you've got really small tasks to do, which it would be a shame if you wouldn't do. Say, for example, 50 pages. So what I do is, next to my to-do list, draw blocks of 10 pages each, and 5 blocks of those, and strike through them every time I read 10 pages, and it becomes so much easier to read those 50 pages, and it really doesn't seem as a daunting task anymore. Or for more difficult books, like philosophy books, I'd set out to read 20 or 30 pages a day, and I'd compartmentalize those in 5-page blocks. Yeah, 5 pages, it shouldn't really be that hard. There's no point at which you think, oh my god, I've got 50 pages to read today, oh, I can't do that, I'll just sit and do nothing. As a side note, you get so much more out of the courses if you read the preparatory texts as opposed to not reading them. Because you already know what to expect, you already know what the course is going to be about, and in the timetable it even says what that specific lecture is going to be about, so you can prepare a bit more for that the day before or a few hours before the lecture. So we've talked to-do lists and compartmentalizing. Another thing to think about is reading more books in parallel, and by doing that you never get bored. And what I usually do is read a difficult history or philosophy book, a literature book for uni, and a literature book for pleasure at the same time. And obviously I'm prioritizing what's more difficult. And then in the afternoon, when I'm more tired, I usually read the literature for uni. When I have a bit of spare time before bed, usually I try to make a habit out of reading literature for pleasure. Reading before bed helps you fall asleep easier and you sleep much better, as opposed to watching films or watching anything really on your phone or on a laptop screen. The flickering and the constant refresh rate on those devices really make you think like you should be wide awake all the time, all night long, and it's really not good in a time when you want to be productive the next day. What you've just seen has been the garden where I've spent almost my entire summer. So another tip for staying focused while doing any kind of reading would be to set up a place where there is as little technology as possible. Just stay focused on your books. If it's important for you to keep your phone on you, if you're expecting someone to call or something like that, you can keep it, but you can use the app Forest to do 25-minute sessions where it doesn't allow you to use other apps. I talked about that in a previous video. That's a really good way of compartmentalizing not only your work but your time as well. So you work 25 minutes, you read for 25 minutes and then have a 5-minute break and another 25 minutes. And while you're doing those 25 minutes, you don't have the chance to think, oh, I've got to read for 2 hours, I'll just take a quick break now, and then 3 hours later you realize your quick break has been extended. So this way you can really focus for those 25 minutes, knowing that you will stop after that period of time and then take a short break. So one last tip from me to stay focused would be to hydrate yourself, especially if you're a coffee drinker, or even if you aren't. It's really important to stay hydrated, to drink at least 2 liters of water every day. Alright, that's it from me for now. If anything else comes to mind, it will probably be in the next video, which I hope to film in a week's time. And next time you'll see me, I'll probably already be in Cambridge. So I'll talk to you from there.